Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 198, recording on Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And on today's show, just after doing our best of summer game season, as soon as the episode's posted, Nintendo announces their showcase, the Nintendo Direct 6/18/24, and we'll be going over all of the announcements there, including Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. How are you guys doing? Are you ready to do this?
Doing very good. We got to give a happy birthday shout out to Frank, our wonderful host.
Yes, my birthday was a couple days ago. It's all over now. Ready to move on.
You don't stretch it out for like a whole week?
Not anymore. I used to. Not really feeling it these days.
Okay.
Too old. Too depressing.
I had a birthday celebration today for my youngest son, and I had 9 crazy kids in my house for two straight hours running around like madmen. Let me tell you, as soon as kids discover Nerf guns, a switch flips, and boy, it is like instantly we do anything. I'm like, okay, kids, come up. We're going to eat lunch. They like shove the hot dogs in their face, run immediately back downstairs, grab the Nerf guns, start shooting each other in the face. So it's a great time. Great time.
Nice.
That must have been a exhausting day, potentially.
Yes, it was. It wasn't too bad, actually. It was okay.
That's good. Let's get into the Nintendo Direct, starting off with a new game announcement. We're going to go in order. We'll just breeze over some stuff, but we're going to try to touch on pretty much everything. Mario and Luigi Brothership. We're talking about Thousand Year Door and the Mario and Luigi series versus Mario RPG, and what's the difference? Do we even care? And Sean was, I think, previously was talking about we're due for another one of these, I think. Or is it dead? You might have.
Yeah, that was the thing. It had been a long time, but I believe the original developer went out of business, I think, or I believe so.
Okay.
Thought maybe it died with them.
Maybe we'll see what Sean thinks of this game, the return of Mario and Luigi in Brothership.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good start to the show. I mean, not that it looked like absolutely amazing, but I was like, okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. It's on the Switch, so, bringing some new upgrades to a system that was always just on handheld systems. And, the title, I don't know if the title's a little awkward, I think, but yeah, I mean, I didn't see a ton of like super new stuff, but like I said before, there are little platforming elements in these games, and I felt like there was a little more going on than the Paper Mario stuff that I had seen, but I guess we'll find out.
Huck, have you played any of this series?
I have not, actually, and I found it kind of interesting when I was watching it. I also agree the name a little odd, but I mean, it makes sense. I think there's a I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. Yeah, they are brothers, and I think there was a ship in the in the trailer. So I guess it's kind of interesting. I thought I kind of didn't buy into the art style. I didn't think it was quite as polished looking as what I would expect from a Mario and Luigi game. And I know this kind of has history on, like, I think it started Game Boy Advance, maybe Game Boy Color even. So it's like a very old, very not mobile, like handheld roots. I don't know if it's had any like console releases. I think it's almost exclusively been handheld releases. So I don't know if they're intentionally making the graphics look, quote unquote, less than to stay true to those roots or not, but I was a little surprised by the visual polish of the game. I still think some of the gameplay elements looked interesting, and did they officially announce that it was co-op in this trailer? I mean, everything looked co-op, but I don't know if they actually said it.
I don't think so. Like, the previous games, it was kind of they walked together, but the A button would make one jump, the B button would make the other one
Oh,
jump. So
okay.
you could kind of sort of have control over either Mario or Luigi. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, a lot of people would probably assume that,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was mentioned. So I'm assuming it's not co-op.
Yeah. You think
Just
they'd be all over that?
one thing here that it's not true co-op, but two people can interact while playing. I don't know what that means. That's
okay.
So
Is this like Mario Galaxy? Someone waves a thing at the
yeah, probably
at the screen and collects stars.
They can do when it's in battle. They can do action battle commands for one of the characters or something like that. Possibly.
Right. Yeah.
I'm with Huck with the art style. My thoughts when I was watching this is Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have a very similar look. And I would just, if I was Nintendo, I would have like a team dedicated to curating the art style of Mario games and like a set of models that are used across different Mario games that has like almost a 3D animated movie aesthetic. And I would just like keep improving that constantly. And then you could just update a version on a new console of an old game and just like have this kind of iterative art cycle for Mario, I think would be amazing. And they're already like the characters don't change that much aesthetically. It's usually like shaders and lighting and stuff like that. So I think they should just let me correct that. They've already established a great art style for Mario and Mario Kart. Keep using that across the board. I know it's not as much fun, but this art style does not hold a candle to either of those games. And sometimes I feel like because we gravitate to hooks for art styles, especially in indie games, there's always we have to curate this unique look for a game. And I don't think that applies to every game or series. And I think Mario should have more of a established 3D art. If I like the idea of obviously differentiating 2D Mario games from 3D Mario games, but 3D Mario games always look great, even considering the level of the technology. So kind of felt like a step back for me. But I still think it looks okay. Definitely looked more fun than what I've been playing in Thousand Year Door. So that releases November 17th, I think. So coming out this year.
Yep.
Okay, next up. Nintendo World Championships NES edition. This is a like quick mini game speed runs competition of kind of like the Nintendo Online. And there's challenge modes in that. It kind of reminded me of where like it's a specific setup and do something, but it's presenting it through this leaderboards and competition model, like the NES championships as seen in The Wizard. I think they actually exist in real life as well. I thought it looked pretty good. I looked it up after. I was like, oh, is this free? This feels like it should be free, and it is not. It's $40, and it's like a deluxe physical edition is $80. So I don't know. I don't know how well it's going to sell if there's going to be a big, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a pool of players to like sustain these time trials or scoring and leaderboards. Maybe there will be. It's Nintendo, but did you guys have any thoughts on this one?
I agree with you. I'm not sure the target market for this you'd think would be people our age, possibly even a little older. And I don't know if there's that many people in that demographic that like playing a game that's just challenges and trying to beat kids online. So it does seem weird to me. But it's and I can't imagine a younger demographic that might be interested in more challenge-based online play, beating your friends, gravitating to NES style games. So I also am not confident that it'll sell. I mean, it's Nintendo, so you probably get a bump just by putting that name out there. And but I'm not sure. Yeah, I also agree. I can't imagine this being a giant hit.
Yeah, this, it was previously announced, I believe, like a month or two ago. And it just looks like, catering to the speed running trend community. Like, I think there are people out there that would be excited about this. I just don't know if it's going to reach much beyond them. Like, I think it also reminded me a little bit of, there was like a couple of games, I think they were like for the Wii U, called like NES Remix or something like that. It was like kind of WarioWare little mini games made out of chunks of like actual NES games, which was kind of an interesting idea. I would be more interested in something more like that personally, but I don't know. It's kind of a cool twist on some classic games, I guess.
All right, next up, Fairy Tale 2. I'm going to be honest, I rewatched the Nintendo Direct quickly today, and I've already forgotten what this is. I've seen it twice, and I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now to remind myself, and I think I wrote down it was based off an anime. So obviously, it probably have some fans of the series, but I don't recall there being a Fairy Tale 1. And I don't know. It looked kind of turn-based, the combat, but I don't know any of the. I don't know anything about this series, and I don't recall anything from this trailer really grabbing me, even though I would probably be the most likely to be interested in this game. So I think they're leaning heavily into people who know this anime already.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know much about it myself. Sean, you love this anime, right?
No, I'm not familiar. It does say action RPG, so
Okay.
I don't know, but this one just also very forgettable for me. I remember the name. That's about it.
All right, next up, Fantasian Neo Dimension. Like, this is such a Nintendo portion of the Nintendo, these games, like, never heard of, don't know how they're going to sell any copies, but this one I think is Square Enix, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And it had a kind of interesting battle mechanic where you can curve things. Is that this game where you can adjust the course of things depending on enemy formations?
Yes.
Which I thought looked kind of interesting, but not necessarily a bit of a waveform idea. Not quite this.
Yeah, I mean,
curves,
completely different genre, but
you guys have any thoughts on this one?
Adjusting a curve. This game, I think it's this game, or the Fantasian original game came out on iOS probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. Like, I remember that being an Apple Arcade exclusive. Is this just a re-release of that, or is this a sequel to that?
I don't know. It wasn't totally clear to me, but it looks exactly like I remember the iOS game looking, especially in terms of like one of the towns they showed, and some of the areas looked very familiar. So I assumed it was the original iOS game, but I could be wrong.
It looks like it's an enhanced version of it.
Enhanced. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so is that where the curve thing comes from, where you would touch the screen or manipulate it?
Yeah, you'd like be able to drag and adjust the arc.
I did not know that. I mean, it makes sense based on the visuals. It didn't look all that complex visually, so this is all adding up.
But did you actually play the original then, Huck?
Yeah, I did. I don't remember playing it for much more than like an hour or two. But I remember it came out around the time when I was really I still believed that mobile could be a successful platform for kind of like RPGs, and this kind of was one of the ones that kind of put the nail in the coffin for me. Of like, it's just a tough platform to make a traditional kind of like turn-based action title on, especially if you're playing on something not like I was playing on an iPad, and even with that bigger screen, it was not really an enjoyable experience. And at the time, the phones were much smaller, so I don't know. So I played it for like 2 hours, and I didn't really love it at the time. I can't imagine me picking this one up and putting any time into it.
All right. Next up, Did I miss one? Oh no, Nintendo
Nope.
Switch Sports getting a basketball game. Um, Kind of cool that they're keep adding stuff to that game rather than shipping out a new Nintendo Sports title, but didn't look all that amazing to me.
Didn't they have like just like being able to shoot hoops or something? Like
Thought so, but I don't know.
I don't remember now. But I mean, it looked fun in the trailer. I feel like it wouldn't work that well, to be honest with you.
I bought this game a few years ago for like the cottage, and I haven't played it once. So don't think this is the mini game the game that's gonna pull me in. Next up, Mio Memories in Orbit, kind of a 2D action game. I thought it looked okay. I feel like there's a lot of games like this. I didn't necessarily see anything that made it stand out from the vast array of 2D action games out there, but did you guys notice anything unique?
I like the art style. I don't know, like not didn't look like super unique, but something about it looked like a little bit like a notch above. I believe it is a Metroidvania, and it looked like a notch above a lot of the ones we've been seeing recently. So, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, it had like almost like a spider traversal mechanic up the walls, which was kind of weird. Like it kind of made me intrigued about just what is this character and what is this world, but the game, nothing about the gameplay really excited me that much, to be honest. So I will keep an eye on it, but I can't. It's not a buy right away for me.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it again, and I'm actually flipping a bit. I think it looks pretty good, and I think the effects, in particular, impact effects, and the animated nature of it, it's got something to it. I'm kind of in now. I kind of wrote it off initially. Next up, an update to Disney Illusion Island. Not really for me. Sean, did you ever buy this game? Did you play it?
I did. I mean, it was like a game that I was like, oh, this would probably be fun to play with the kids, and they really had no interest in it. And it was a little more kiddie than I was hoping for. But yeah, I mean, it's a free update, but I never finished the game. It's apparently a pretty short game, so I don't know. Maybe I'll bang it out one of these days in a couple hours, but it's not amazing.
Next up, Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Has this been announced? I announced before? Is this a new thing? I have no idea.
This is an Apple Arcade game. I think.
Another one? Okay.
Pretty sure.
It's a little different viewing this through the lens of when you guys are telling me these are games that exist on iOS just coming to Switch. It really brings it down a bit. Even in a game I was all that interested in, to look at it through that lens changes things.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure the Animal Crossing, people who are into that game, like it feels like an IP that fits well there, and I'm sure some people would really be into it, but definitely not for me.
Next up, Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports, which is a Looney Tunes game, but has like 3-on-3 basketball, soccer, just all your tennis. And was there another one?
I don't remember seeing another one. Those
No,
are the three I remember.
Three. I think there was 4 total.
Basketball, soccer, golf, tennis, it says.
Golf, okay. I don't remember any visuals from the golf.
No, neither do I.
I love Looney Tunes, or at least I did when I was young, just the aesthetic of Looney Tunes, but I thought the art style for this game was like gross.
Yeah, it was like a very blocky cell shading.
Yeah. It was like a really like unimpressive like shader to do the cell shading. It looked really bad.
Everything looks really flat.
And you'd think in like contained environments, like a sports game, you'd be able to punch it up a bit. But is Looney Tunes making a comeback or something that I'm not aware of? Like, why is this game coming out? And has anyone seen anything Looney Tunes related since like the Space Jam with LeBron James?
No, I think they're incorporated in multiverse to some degree. And
yeah, they are trying to do some stuff with it. Like there was that movie that was supposed to come out and then got canceled, but actually got completed, which I still don't know.
The only thing I'd actually want to see.
Yeah, I still don't know if it has a chance of seeing the light of day, but there's been a lot of talk of that. And I think there's another movie in the works. Yeah, there's like a feature-length animated movie coming out later this year, I believe. So there's a few things.
Just feels like Warner Brothers is trying to get whatever leverage they can out of any IP.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really know how to do that well.
I mean, the one thing that is cool about this is it, reminds me of like back in the like late 80s, early 90s, there were a lot of sports games that came out. They didn't have the license. They didn't have the players. So then they would kind of go some other route with it. And they came up with some creative stuff and kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, I didn't think it looked amazing.
So apparently it's also coming to Xbox, PlayStation 5, and PC, which I'm kind of surprised at, to be honest.
It might look better on those consoles. If it does, I might be curious about it.
So it's developed by Game Mill Entertainment, who apparently has done...
They do a lot of
They did a Deer Hunter game. It looks like they do almost like mobile mystery hunt and peck games. Yeah, they did like a monster truck game. Very strange.
All right, I think we're good for this game.
Yeah.
Some new roles coming to Among Us. They were releasing that day. Doesn't really mean much to me. And Farmagia, another kind of half farming game and combat and creatures. Just another like forgettable management sim type of game that seemed to like dominate these Nintendo Directs. Out of all of them, I thought this one looked particularly not fun. Like how you have to move an avatar to stand over to plant seeds. It felt like this game.
And the animation is so slow. Yeah. Yes. It almost looked like they were trying to take like Pokemon and mash it together with a farming sim and have,
for sure.
I don't know if they really explained in this why you're fighting and what your farming is getting you towards the fighting, or if there's any connection at all. It's just they wanted to do they had two designers. One wanted to do a Pokemon battle game and one wanted to do a farming game, and they mashed together. That could be the only reason. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I have very little to say about this. Sean, anything else?
No.
Okay, next up. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Finally getting a HD version of the original Donkey Kong Returns from the Wii. We have Tropical Freeze already. I kind of want to play this or revisit it again, but we all had to have noticed the first thing that happens in this game when they show the gameplay footage.
What's that?
Donkey Kong starts moving left to right, and the first action he does is he blows. I hate the blowing mechanic, and it's the first thing they showed off. I swear to God, like someone at Nintendo was just fucking with me at this point. And it just exhibits start moving, go through this level quickly, and then come to a screeching halt. And it kind of was like they were showcasing, actually, if you know what you're doing, you can just quickly blow it and move on. And I felt like
maybe they're just saying this is the only blowing we do. This one moment. That's it. We swear.
Maybe they'll have like an alternate way to blow in this game.
Yeah. I do want to play these games though. And I've heard Tropical Freeze is really good. So January 16th, maybe it finally happens.
It also does have the 3DS. Was the 3DS game like a whole new game, or like it says here additional stages from the 3DS version? So I don't know what that means, but I mean that's a cool bonus, I guess.
I remember buying both and not playing them, so I can't wait to do it again. I don't have to buy two again.
I can say that Donkey Kong, all the Donkey Kong Country games are like on my wall of shame. I have never beaten any of the Donkey Kong Country games. I've never played any of the Wii ones. I've played Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country 2 on the SNES, but I always get stopped on like the second area, and I just put them down constantly. So I feel like I need to play one of these games at some point in my life, but I've tried. I tried to do the original Donkey Kong Country a few times and just keep getting stopped. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I know people love them. I don't.
I would like them to just remake the original trilogy with these graphics as well. And
yeah, I would probably try that.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, and then subsequently announced 1 and 2 are coming later on. And this continues. Initially, I'm like, wait, what is with Nintendo releasing Luigi's Mansion 2 remake before Luigi's Mansion 1 and just doing everything out of order? It's so infuriating. It doesn't make any sense. But then the creator of Dragon Quest showed up and said, this is actually chronologically how the game takes place. Like, so playing it in that order, like, it doesn't change the experience. So I actually was like, okay, I've always wanted to get into Dragon Quest, and I think it would be more fun to do it in like the old school games rather than the more advanced ones and build upon the systems. So Huck, have you played Dragon Quest? I know Tim Rogers loves Dragon Quest. He thinks it's like the best battle economy in any RPG.
Yeah, I've played was the original one called Dragon Warrior on the NES? Was that Dragon Quest 1? So I played that one. I don't know if I beat it. I mean, I recall it being insanely hard.
I did not know that was actually Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I think so.
Just in North America.
You're 100% right. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think I played any other ones. I don't think I played but then I tried like other Dragon Quests, like Dragon Quest 7, I think. There was one that was on the PS2 that I absolutely hated. It was kind of like the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, just like so much dialogue. Like, oh, shoot me now. Like, let me get through this. And of course, there's no skipping ahead in those games. And then I've played the most recent one, Dragon Quest 11, I think. And that one's kind of cool because you can actually play that fully in 2D pixel art. They have 2 games side by side. And at any point in time, or maybe not any point in time, but at a lot of points, you can switch between the 2D and 3D in that newest Dragon Quest game. It's pretty neat. But I'm interested in this. I love the sort of Octopath Traveler 3D environments with lighting and 2D sprites. Same with like that Ayuden Chronicles game, similar art style. I really like this take on these style of games. So I'm interested in it. And I think obviously with the remake and rebalancing and all these new graphics, it's going to be a lot more approachable than if we were trying to go back and play the originals. So I'm interested in this. I just hope it comes to another system, not the Switch.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I wonder if it is Switch exclusive. I think it will be, but
I don't know. I didn't look it up, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting just to think about, like, was this sort of inspired by, the Final Fantasy VII remake and what they're doing with that? Like, it seems like they're not, it's not quite an overhaul at that level, but, the fact that they're going back to that original trilogy feels maybe inspired by that in some way.
Looks like it is coming to Steam and other consoles.
Yeah, it looks like Xbox and PlayStation are both listed for 3 anyways, and Steam.
That actually makes me more excited to play it.
We're in the clear. We can play it.
November 14th on Steam anyway. Next up, Sean, this one's for you. Funko Fusion. We finally...
Oh, yeah. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, like, this is such a Sean game. You got to be like losing your mind over this.
Like, we'll have to like stream it or something. Like, it feels like it's going to be ridiculous, but it's obviously very similar to the Lego games, I think, and Lego Dimensions in particular. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm down for it. I hope it's not completely mindless and, I hope there's some fun there.
Yeah, I like obviously Lego has the charm of the bits and the pieces and
There's a lot of collecting
assembling.
stuff,
It all
and
makes sense in that world. I don't know. This just feels like a bunch of like small action levels without like a hook other than the art style. But I have to admit, it didn't look bad. I thought it had some potential. I doubt I'll play it, but looked okay. Okay, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, just an update. It comes out in a few weeks, right? I think.
June 27th.
So yeah, it's coming out this week. Not a lot of thoughts on that. I'm just going to burn through a few here, and then you guys say if you have anything to say. The new Denpa Men, which I don't remember anything about. I think. Did I skip this somehow?
Should we have known about this? Like, is this something we should know about but don't?
I don't know. I feel like when it was Mario or Luigi's Mansion, I skipped ahead a bit, and I actually missed Denpa Men.
You didn't. I don't think you really missed anything, but
I'm looking at it now. But
no, it's weird because when I was scrolling through the article I'm looking at, I saw that trailer and I was like, I don't really remember that trailer, so I don't know where it happened. But
Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. I get so lost in the Metal Slug series. It looks like a Metal Slug game. Darkest Dungeon 2 coming to Switch. Nintendo Switch Online and expansion pass with, I think, 4 swords with online co-op, I think is actually a pretty big thing for that. And then some and Zero missions for Metroid and some M-rated games with Turok and Perfect Dark for N64.
So did you guys download these?
I did not.
There is a separate app for the N64 mature 17 plus. Really? Yeah. So you cannot. So if you go into like the N64 app, they don't show these games. You have to go back on the store, get that as explicit app for these mature games, and then it has Perfect Dark and Turok in there, which is
how
so
mature
weird.
are these games really? Like, I mean, I've played
I don't know.
Perfect Dark fairly recently with the rare replay thing.
Is there even blood?
I don't
like,
think
isn't
so.
it just like impact hits?
Yeah.
And I don't recall Turok being especially bloody. I mean,
that one was. I remember like
was it?
Oh yeah. It's.
I mean, like Metroid kills. I mean, Samus kills animals. No M rated on that.
No, this had like squirting blood and all sorts of stuff for sure.
Okay. I mean, Metal Slug. We just watched Metal Slug. You kill a whole bunch of dudes and machines and stuff in that. No M rated on that. It's because it's 3D. Can't handle the 3D. 2D cartoon, not mature, but 3D mature.
Well, you'd still have to download and buy an M-rated Metal Slug app as well. It wouldn't just show up as an online thing. It's just controlling parental stuff, I think, is why it's there. So kids can't play it.
Maybe. Do you think Metal Slug is rated M for mature?
It could be, but you'd have to buy it and approve it anyway. So that's fine. But there's definitely mature. Those are the original ratings for those games. It's not like they made it up. So there must be a reason.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Next up, Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero. And I'll just say Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. I have very few thoughts about either of these. And honestly, I don't remember a thing about Phantom Brave.
Yeah, I don't remember that. The Marvel arcade thing is kind of cool. I don't know. Like, I'm not that into a lot of the fighting games, but the Punisher game looked kind of cool.
That exists in other places, doesn't it? Like, they've repackaged these fighting games and fighting game collections so many times. I don't know if this is the first one that has Punisher in it. So they just find a way to add one or two things that you haven't had before to make you buy it again. I always like the idea of these games and I buy them now and then. I'm like, I have no reason to play this. If I didn't play it originally and like have this nostalgic fondness for and know everything about it already, it's nothing.
Yeah. Phantom Brave, don't have really anything to say about it.
Phantom Brave, it looked kind of like the Mario and Rabbids games, that sort of gameplay mechanics. And I think if I were to want to play a game like this, I would go and finally play those some more, the two games. Because those are actually really good.
like the strategy ones.
Yeah. The tactical turn-based kind of games. I got one right here. What's it called?
Mario plus Rabbids.
Yeah, Sparks of Hope.
Right.
Is one of them, and the other one is, I can't remember the other one, but yeah.
Next up, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Mario Party seems to be the franchise that Nintendo releases every year just to make money, and I don't play them. I think I've played 1 or 2 rounds of Mario Party in my life. Sonic Shuffle is a superior game. Just kidding. But I have played more Sonic Shuffle than I have of Mario Party. But I can't believe how much they juice this franchise.
You know what's interesting is I was looking at the eShop, and my son got a $50 gift card for his birthday, and I was like, what game would you like? And he actually said, oh, I would like Mario Party. So I guess it appeals to kids often. I think we maybe played Mario Party once, maybe a few years ago. I don't know why. And I asked him, I said, do your friends play Mario Party? He's like, no, I don't think so. But luckily I was able to steer him away, and he got this other game called like Boomerang Fu or something. I don't know. Have you guys heard of this game? Him and his buddies play the shit out of this game, and they love it. It's kind of just like a 4-person action, almost like a tournament fighter thing. I don't know. It's like Bomberman. But
yeah, I never heard of it. On Steam as well.
Yeah, they love it. Anyways, sorry, side tangent.
As far as Mario Party goes, I will say our family has played the last 2 like a fair bit. Like, we do enjoy them. I probably could see us picking this one up. I don't like. There was a period of time where I think there was like a gap, and they weren't making Mario Party games. Like, I think they brought it back with the first one on the Switch, and now they are starting to do them every year. Like the last one was like a compilation of kind of previous boards and mini games. This one seems like it's new stuff, but I'm not. I feel like they always kind of recycle stuff anyway, so who knows?
Next up, probably the second biggest announcement of the show, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, a 2D Zelda game previously unannounced, in the style of the Link's Awakening remake visually, or pretty close, I think. And this one you play as Zelda. This game is releasing this year, September 26th, and it's basically taking a like systemic design of Breath of the Wild, where it's almost a bit like Scribblenauts, and you can collect different things in the world, and then you have what's it called, the tri-rod, that you can use it to spawn things and solve puzzles in unique ways. And I mean, it's a cool idea of taking some of the principles of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and turning it into a 2D version of that. Like, use things how you want to navigate this world. I'm intrigued by the idea, although when I see it's just
what do you mean by 2D?
Sorry, like,
top down?
Top down, yeah. Like, but when
you could play The Legend of Zelda top down if you didn't move the camera.
Yeah, for sure. But when I see it's just like stacking 4 beds to get higher rather than jumping, I'm like, I think I'd rather just jump. Like, I don't know what's fun about stacking 4 beds to get to a higher level. So I'd say I'm kind of in the middle on this one. I like that it's a new top-down Zelda, but not necessarily looking like it's all that much fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Like, I think the art style, it seems to be following up on Link's Awakening, which I liked. And then, yeah, like, it does seem to be taking some ideas from like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, just like the puzzle and kind of the open puzzles, I guess, or I don't know what the word would be for it, but just with like multiple solutions potentially. And, you know, it is one of those things where it's like, well, you kind of got to wait to see how they execute on that. But like, you know, we had a lot of questions about Tears of the Kingdom, and I thought for me, they still had like, yes, there was specific ways to solve a lot of the puzzles, but if you experimented, there was some pretty impressive stuff you could do that wasn't necessarily intended, or that was kind of emergent, I guess. So, yeah, I'm pretty interested. And again, it's, another fresh take on the Zelda franchise. So I'm in.
Yeah, I really liked the Link's Awakening art style and the world, and I like this perspective for a Zelda game. But man, I've got all my feelings about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. About it's just like too much freedom for me, I think, and having so many options to solve puzzles, I think I'm going to get frustrated because the thing they showed was like a huge scroll bar of what you can spawn in. So are you going to be like in the heat of the moment and needing to scroll through this giant list of stuff you found to find the one thing you want? And then you're panicking. So you go past it and you accidentally create the wrong thing, and then you have to start again. Like that would piss me off so much and cause me to immediately put it down. So I'm like exactly what Sean said. I got to see the execution. I got to see how they do. Maybe they limit your options or something, or you could do hotkeys or pause the game and choose stuff. I don't know, but the overwhelming choice is not interesting to me. I have overwhelming choice in games I can play right now, and I end up being completely paralyzed and play nothing. So, yeah, having so much options is not a selling feature for me, but I do really like this style of Zelda. So I am probably more interested than I would be for like Tears of the Kingdom, but we'll see once it comes out.
Next up, Just Dance 2025 edition. Gonna quickly just leave that one alone. We got more footage from Lego Horizon Adventures. We already knew this was coming to the Switch, so kind of talked about that one already.
I think this was new footage, though. I don't recall some of this stuff.
Yeah, well, definitely some new stuff on. I don't know if this was specifically running on the Switch. I don't know if that was clear, but
yeah, I don't know.
The next one was pretty clear. It was running on the Switch. It's Stray finally coming to a Nintendo platform, and definitely looked like a big downgrade from the previous versions. Yeah. Okay. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, another cozy sim, this time in the Lord of the Rings universe, with like this weird eye art style on every character that just like, I don't know, felt
giant eyebrows.
Like it does kind of feel like there's kind of that one artist, or maybe it's multiple artists, but I feel like there's one artist that did a lot of the Tolkien art like back in like the 60s and 70s, and it feels maybe a little influenced by that, but I generally didn't really like the look of it. Like when they first said that it was a Lord of the Rings game, I thought this was going to be like a Zelda game in Lord of the Rings, and I was like, oh, that could be cool. And then as soon as I saw it was more of like a farming game, I lost interest.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm done with these Sims. Like there can only be so many. I will play every 3D action game. If you are someone who plays all of these Sims, like every time you see a new cozy Sim, you think, I'm excited for this, please tell us in the comments at youtube.com/GameJunk, because maybe I'm just out to lunch. I'm not aware of like how many people actually love playing these. Next up, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. Huck, Sean, I've never played an Ace Attorney game. Do you really want to go down the Ace Attorney road one of these days, or what?
I've played Ace Attorney 1, I think. I think there's like 3, maybe 4 sort of like cases. I think I've done the first 1 or 2. And it's one of those series I want to play more of, but I also want to play Danganronpa more, which I feel is a more enjoyable version of that, just for its like comedy and style. So this one looks like it adds more of an investigation aspect than just like a lot of text boxes. It looks like you can actually move around the world, which I don't think the first kind of like 3 or the Ace Attorney trilogy collection does. But I'm sort of interested, but I would definitely lean towards playing the first 3 collection that I already have first before diving into this one.
Yeah, I've attempted to try a couple of these, and it's just a lot of reading. I don't know. I always think maybe I could get into these, but they never really hook me. But then, like seeing this trailer, that actually reminded me of one game that was absent from this direct, which was the new Professor Layton. I thought for sure that was going to be the next thing they would show, and it was not there.
All right, next up, the 100-line Last Defense Academy and Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. Is that right? Is that a full title? This is from the YouTube notes. Again, kind of standard, semi-forgettable JRPGs or strategy games that I don't know if they're connected, or series that I don't know much about, but do you guys have any thoughts for either of these?
Well, the first one, 100 Line, is by the developers Danganronpa. Speaking of Danganronpa,
Okay. All right.
And while I was watching it, I immediately recognized it because so many of the characters are weird, and it's a very similar presentation to the Danganronpa games. Of you're in a school, you're kind of exploring the school, and then there's like this other aspect. So they basically so in Danganronpa, you explore the school, talk to all your classmates, and then at the end, someone dies, and you have to like investigate that and to try to figure out who the killer is. And then there's like this kind of this like a little mini game section at the end, and it looks like they've kind of just stripped out that and put in this turn-based, almost like strategy game. So it was very odd, like juxtaposition for me between the strategy sections they showed and then the school sections. But I am sort of interested just because of the Danganronpa developers. And I don't know if I would play this, but I'm interested to see how it does. And yeah, more of a curiosity than I'm actually interested in it. And I never played any of the Romancing Saga games, so I don't have any interest in this remake. I don't know. Maybe if it gets really, really good reviews, I would give it a try, but not on my list right now of things I want to pick up.
The 100-line game, like, is it in the world of Danganronpa, or is it just the developers?
I think it's just the developers. I don't think it has any tie. I mean, other than it's like very similar. Like Danganronpa is like people basically I think it's like 20 kids or teenagers get kidnapped and basically put in the school. They get like drafted into the school, and it sounds kind of similar, like except it's like 100 kids go into the school, and they're fighting for like a common cause, whereas in the school one they're not really. But yeah, I don't think there's a tie, and there's the like main character in the Danganronpa series, that like weird bear thing. I can't remember. It's like Mononoke or something like that. No, it couldn't be Mononoke. That's like it's something like that though. It's something like that. But I didn't see it in this. I think if there was some tie, that character for sure would make an appearance.
Monokuma.
Yes, I knew it was kind of close.
I guess if it's the developer of those games, I could see why this game is a bigger deal potentially to some people, but I guess I was unaware of that. All right, last up, the game that needs to be talked about. We've been waiting to get to this moment since we saw a After Effects presentation. Was it 7 years ago at E3? Finally, our first footage of Metroid Prime 4, subtitled Echoes. And Sean's the Metroid.
Beyond, do you mean?
What did I say? Echoes?
Yeah.
Echoes is number 3, I think.
No, I'm an idiot.
Or wait, is that number 2?
That's
3 was Corruption.
2, yeah, 2.
2.
Sorry. Beyond. Beyond. Sean, gotta lead with you on this one. Are you satisfied? You still have your pre-order, right?
Still have my pre-order as far as I know. I mean, I'm excited. I will admit the trailer didn't really show anything new. And I mean, they could release a Prime game that's kind of just a rehash of the previous ones with slightly better graphics. And personally, I'd probably be happy with that. But I will admit, how long we've been waiting, and based on what they've done with like the Zelda franchise, like they've been constantly reinventing it and doing cool things with it. This doesn't look like a reinvention. The only thing that looked kind of different, I guess, and maybe not something I was a huge fan of, is that seemed to be like the story is set during some kind of war or battle or something. Like there was a lot of human NPCs. And I know Metroid Prime 3 kind of started to introduce more dialogue with other human characters and stuff like that. Seems like it's maybe just going down that path a bit more, which I mean, that's fine. It's just, I'm more about the solo exploration in an abandoned planet or whatever. But, they showed some stuff. It's coming 2025, so that is pretty exciting.
Huck, what do you think?
Yeah, similar thoughts. Nothing really blew me away in terms of like graphics or anything like that. It kind of reminded me of what I remember Metroid Prime kind of looking like, to be honest. Now there was the bad guy or whoever it is comes through and has like two Metroids flanking it. I never played. I mean, I have all the Metroid Prime games. I think I only ever played Prime 1. I never played Echoes, and I think Corruption is still in the wrapper. So that's how far I got on that one. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should sell it for big bucks. So I don't know if there's some sort of story tie-in that I'm not aware of, that, the Metroids are now working with some faction of the space pirates, or I don't know, whatever the stupid lore of Metroid is now. But I don't know. There was like parts that looked kind of interesting, like that when there was a scene where she's rolling through the pipe and there's all that action going on, kind of like behind the scenes. I think that's kind of interesting in the fact that they maybe have like a pretty dynamic environment happening. But I don't know if that was just very choreographed and like a one-off thing and not going to happen that often. But yeah, I agree with Sean that for me, Metroid is all about that exploration of some planet that's basically abandoned, and there's a lot of mystery around it, and you're trying to kind of find your way through it and make your way to the bosses, and I guess just follow the breadcrumbs however they lead you. So this looks very action oriented. I don't know which way I swing yet. I don't know how after seeing games like Doom, how Doom comes across. Comparing this, it looks so slow, and having to still hold down whatever the scan button is for like an excessive amount of time. Like that's what I remember about Metroid Prime mostly, is just scanning constantly. And I didn't find that fun really. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm not super excited after this. It's not like drop the mic moment for me. I'm kind of like, okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, the question for Sean is, what happens when your big pre-order that you save money on is the Switch version, and you will still have to buy the Switch 2 version when this releases on both?
I mean, that's an interesting point, because it's obviously going to be a Switch 2 launch title or very close to that. So
they were very non-definitive about, they didn't mention the Switch anywhere in the presentation. The comments were all over the place on the video and articles I read. Like, this is obviously a Switch 2 game. The Switch couldn't pull off these visuals. And I'm looking at like, I don't see what's so amazing about these visuals, which actually scared me even more. I'm like, if this is what a Switch 2 game is going to look like, I'm even more concerned. My personal thoughts is like, I think this is the Switch version running that we're seeing, and the Switch 2 version will be similar, but slightly upgraded graphically. We'll see if this is what a Switch 2 game looks like. it's truly dark times where we're going for like porting Nintendo stuff, and the specs for the Switch 2 are going to be absolutely terrifying. I can't even believe it if this is actually Switch 2 footage. And I agree. I'm obviously excited for a new Metroid game, but this game has been shelved, brought back, and I'm looking for like where did all this time go? What's the next level? We've had so many opportunities to take Metroid Prime to the next level and modernize it, and it just looks almost identical to the previous games. Gameplay looks a little clunky, and I'm with Sean with the humanoid enemies and NPCs. I want creatures. I want this weird world of nature and mystery and anything we like, even Other M and that was it Federation Force or something like that? That was like getting into the more human elements of Metroid. I really could care less about that. So I would say it was pretty disappointing. Like that is based on how much footage there is and the quality of it. I'm still going to buy it. I hope it's good, but did not blow me out of the water. Like when you wait that long, I would hope you have something super special to show. So probably unfair expectations, but I've not heard of many people say super positive things about it other than it's Metroid, which seems to be like, we love Metroid. We're going to play it, but I think they kind of maybe blew it a bit with this, but I obviously hope I'm wrong.
And this is being developed by Retro, right?
As far as I know.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, what was the whole history there? Like, was it a different developer and then they took it away from them and gave it back to Retro? Is that what happened? Is that why it took so long? I can't remember now.
I thought it was always Retro and then they just restarted at some point.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
But I don't know for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of I'd obviously, well, I didn't watch it live, and that was the big news story everywhere. Metro. So I was so excited. I didn't look at anything. I'm waiting till the end of this Nintendo Direct, and thinking about and knowing it was coming at the end. Wow, that really disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, like the exciting thing is that it was there and that it's happening, but the trailer itself was not amazing. I don't think.
We know it's there. I think even changing the name to not be a 4 might have even done more for the game. Like, it just seems like, okay, it's another continuation, and I'm with Huck. I played like half of 2 and a third of 3 and didn't finish them, and replaying 1 or the remake of the first one last year, it was pretty clunky and super frustrating by the end. So if I'm just getting another experience like that, I need some big quality of life improvements, the scanning like Huck mentioned, and other things. So it's not to say that can't be there. We just got no hint of that at all in what we saw.
So I checked Wikipedia, and it apparently when it was originally announced at E3 2017, which seems insane, it was being developed by Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
And then in January 2019, apparently Nintendo announced that Retro was taking over and restarting it. So it hasn't been a full, 8 years or whatever, but it has been, a solid 6 and possibly soon to be 7, depending on how late in 2025 it is. But it is a long time to be making a game.
Indeed.
Yeah.
For this, especially when you have so much developed IP, so much developed mechanics already.
Yeah, and if you're not like reinventing it, then what's taking so long? Like, if you're just doing the same game, then just do it. Like,
it's a little suspect that it looks so similar, and they didn't have anything that I would consider a new mechanic to show here at all. Very shocking.
All right, we're all in agreement on that one. Time to give our letter grades for this showcase. Nintendo Direct 6/18/2024. I am like so literally in between a C plus and a B minus.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking B minus. I came away feeling pretty positive overall, mainly because there was like 3 games I'm very excited about. But as we were talking here, like I realized how many things in between there, I was just like, I don't care. So
Yeah, I think I'm leaning to C plus just because the 2 big new games, which I'm moderately excited for, the Zelda one doesn't look like that much fun, but I'm hoping it is. And Prime was pretty disappointing. So I'm going to say C plus. Huck?
I'm actually going to go lower than that. I think I'm going to go C minus. Same thing. Zelda, not convinced it's for me. Want to believe. I want to believe, X-Files all the way. But Metroid Prime 4, very disappointing. And really the only games I would say I'm excited for out of this whole list are the Dragon Quest 3 remakes, which are like 30-year-old games. So like that's sad.
And will be on other consoles.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to do what we played? We're about an hour in already.
Sorry, Sean, did you do your letter grade? I missed it.
Yeah.
B minus.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. We could jump through a couple of quick things.
Okay. Huck, you want to go first?
Well, do we want to talk about Hauntii? I know you guys were talking about possibly saying it. So, Frank, you had said last week you were conflicted on it. I was looking at the achievements we had all unlocked, and I think Sean and I are about the same amount. You were behind us. I'm interested to see, like, this seems like a game you would enjoy to me. So I'm a little surprised by your, I don't know if it's disdain, but like your like indecision on this game.
I love the look of it. I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it is not communicating the importance of systems to me. I don't know what my goal is. I don't know if I missed like some like little text box or an element of like, this is the purpose of this game. I feel like I'm wandering aimlessly. I do not know what my goal is in this game.
So, well, I mean, your goal is, I would say, is to get back to
what you used
heaven.
to be.
Well, get back to heaven or whatever they're calling it, wherever that girl is.
Yeah.
So I guess for a little context for people, the game is spelt Hauntii. It's on Game Pass. It's not black and white, but there's not many colors in this game. And you are like a ghost type thing wandering around an environment. And in the opening scene, you kind of join up with, let's call her your girlfriend. You kind of go up to heaven. You're like a ghost. You go up to heaven. She's able to break free and go to heaven, I guess, but you are pulled back down kind of into the underworld. That's kind of the reading I get on it. And then it seems like the goal is to then progress out of the underworld and eventually, get back to her or whatever. And it seems like the main mechanics are almost like possessing things. So you can shoot, you can dash. And when you shoot things, you're able to possess them. And by possessing things, you can unlock these almost like jewels sometimes, which are, if you died, they are kind of like your health. So, or not your health, they're your lives. So when you die, you have to kind of pay these jewels to get back. You have 3 hearts, I think. And there are other currencies. There's a few other currencies. There's like these leaves you can collect. And then there are, and you can use those to purchase upgrades to your health bar and your shooting bar or whatever you call it. And then there is also hidden, almost like keys. I don't know what to call them, but they're kind of like stars or orbs. And then those things are used to unlock your progression through the level, but also more abilities. And
yeah, But like the abilities, I don't do anything. I like make a tree grow or I shake a tree. And like I feel like I don't really need to use any of it. Like I'm sitting there trying to possess everything and
Yeah.
see what it does. And I'm like, there's no incentive for me to possess anything. It's
So
like a time.
yeah, maybe you missed this part. It was very subtle and it took me a little while to notice it. I was also possessing everything for a long time, but there are certain trees and certain things that sparkle, and those are the things that drive the game forward. So they contain like the hidden thing you need to progress on, or whatever you need, money or whatever. But I do sort of agree with you that the guiding, the game design that is supposed to guide you through the game is not that strong. But I am sort of enjoying the exploration through the world. There's also a mechanic where there's paths laid down in through the environment, and if you stray off the path, you die essentially. And I think that's a good gating mechanic to kind of keep you contained in the area. It feels open world, but it's not really. And there are mechanics to try to extend this path and the area you can kind of explore, but it really is pretty limited so far, at least in the areas I've been. And I would say I really like this game yet, but I'm definitely not where you are, where like I hate it, or at least it seems like you don't want to go back and play ever again.
I don't hate it. It does not hook me in any way. I feel like I'm aimlessly just trying to figure out what's going on. And I just want a little more direction and less freedom, because to me, the freedom seems like an excuse to make the game longer, not to like actually experiment and try different things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible.
I'm trying to remember, like my memory's already kind of faded on it a little bit, even though like I would say I did want to go back and play it a bit more. But like I think the main two things you do, if I remember correctly, like it's kind of a twin stick shooter, right? Like there are enemies and you kind of there is combat there, but then there's also this possession thing where you can kind of take over objects, and like I kind of remember just you shake things and stuff falls out, and
yeah, and there's like you can possess. Sometimes you can possess pillars that you can tip over and drop on enemies,
right?
And sometimes the things you shake will drop either money or I don't know, whatever one of the currencies is called, the jewels, but also like light orbs, which expand your area that you can explore a little bit. So yeah, it's not. It's almost like I think by allowing you to possess everything, they obscured the things you need to possess a little too much. And it's not obvious when you need to possess certain things, which is a little bit of a downfall of the design, I think.
Yeah, it is one of those games that's trying to be a little bit like, I guess for lack of a better comparison, like kind of like a Limbo Inside type game where it's like you don't fully understand how things work or what they do, but you just kind of experiment until you see what happens, and then you're like, oh, okay, this thing does this, and you kind of just figure it out as you go. But yeah, I don't know if there are things that I missed along the way or not. I think it is mostly just you're expected to try and experiment.
Yeah, I just don't find experimenting all that fun in it. But I love the art style. I want to like it so much. Sean, what do you got?
I'm not going to get into it all right now. Like I wanted to talk about some old arcade games because I've been kind of playing through some stuff with the arcade 1-up cabinet that I modded recently, and it was kind of there's some ups and downs to the whole process, so I thought it might be interesting to talk about it, but I won't get into that today. But I'll just quickly mention like a couple of the first games I fired up with this thing were Smash TV and Total Carnage. And I'd never played Total Carnage, which is, I guess, the sequel to Smash TV, but it's a lot of fun. But Smash TV is, an absolute classic. I can't believe they haven't had like somebody's got to reboot this or bring this thing back in some way. Like it's just such a good concept, like the sort of Running Man style game show where, but it's like a twin stick shooter, and you're going through these rooms and just like, killing tons of people, and then you're picking up toasters and stuff like that as your prizes along the way. Like there's just, I don't know, there's a nice sense of humor to it.
There's a similar game, I think it was on Game Pass a long time ago, called Xenocrisis. It's more like aliens, like a creatures and aliens version of Smash TV that I was having fun with at some point. So
I did see that actually, because now I've been going down a rabbit hole of like looking up all like old or new beat 'em up games, shoot 'em up games, like all these different things. And that one I saw is currently on sale on Good Old Games, but I kind of want to wait and see if it goes on sale on the Steam sale this week. But yeah, I'm interested.
yeah, it's I always wanted to like Smash TV. I don't know. I got to try it again.
I mean, ultimately, it's like with all these arcade games, this is kind of the thing. It's like you play it now with the ability to kind of have limitless continues. It's fun, but then like, what's the challenge, right? And I guess most people like the challenge is to try and play through the whole game on one credit or a few credits, however you want to do it. So I don't know. Like, I mean, that's not really that of interest to me, but just being able to play through these games with some friends and kind of unlimited continues is pretty fun for me.
I'll just mention I have still been playing another Crab's Treasure, still having moments of fun, then moments of wanting to snap. Just so many little things that could have been fixed. Like these are like 10-minute fixes to me that would have made the game so much better. But I'm almost at the end. Not sure if I'll platinum it. Might give it a shot, but I'm still liking it. And been playing Helldivers 2 a lot with the new War Bond back in, and still really enjoying it.
Nice. I was at
so far probably.
Okay.
Prince of Persia, then Helldivers 2.
I was at Hot Topic today, and they had some Helldivers 2 t-shirts there.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, that's the level it's at.
Just going back to the Smash TV quickly, I'd never played any of those games, but when I watch them, all I can think of is just like Robotron, and they're basically Robotron ripoffs.
Yeah, they're definitely building on that. Yeah,
they're all Midway, right? Like Midway made Robotron, and then they did.
It might even be the same developers. I'm not sure, but yeah.
All right, Hawk. Anything else?
Yeah, so I played a new game that just came to Game Pass. Still Wakes the Deep, which is a game by, I think it's Everybody Went to the Rapture developers. The developers called the Chinese Room, and let me just double check that's correct.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this game is a walking simulator narrative game with horror elements, and it has some. So I haven't got to any like action parts, quote unquote, but it kind of reminds me of a little bit of like Alien Isolation, in that there's supposed to be this kind of like creature or mysterious thing kind of working around this oil rig that you're on. You're working on an oil rig, and you kind of, this thing comes out of the depths sort of idea and kind of takes over the station. And there's the ability to sort of jump from platform to platform, climb ladders, hide in cabinets, which hasn't come into play for me, but they've introduced that mechanic and sort of implied like it's going to be coming up. It's going to be a thing to do, but it's very linear so far, but it has amazing atmosphere, great voice acting. Actually, there's a lot of like Irish and Scottish voice actors, and have the subtitles on, it's so funny because the Irish and Scottish people are speaking in slang, and then the subtitles are like completely different than what they say because the slang is like very specific.
So they're translating the slang. Interesting.
Essentially, yeah. So I can't think of a good example, but they'll say like, I don't know, like bollocks or something like that, and then it'll be like balls or testicles or something like underneath. Like it's completely different than what they say. So I find that pretty funny. Or they'll use a lot of slang that's like kind of rude, like almost like your mama jokes, and then they like translate it into like words people like English speakers and Americans would maybe understand if they didn't have the context of the European like Irish kind of heritage kind of thing. But yeah, there's like other like little small puzzles that are very basic, like basically pull these levers, follow these instructions, press these button kind of things. But it's all kind of wrapped in this horror tension. I think the game's only 4 hours long or so it's like a very short game. There's like a flashlight mechanic, all that kind of stuff, but it does a really good job. There's been, I think, only one or two jump scares that kind of got me that were kind of intense, and the pacing's really good so far. They start off kind of just introducing you to the oil rig, then the kind of event happens, then there's a whole bunch of tension as you're trying to kind of clear out, and then there's like a little more downtime while you're trying to like do other stuff, and then it gets intense again. So I feel like the pacing has been really good, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually. And for a very basic story game, it's keeping me engaged more than I thought it would. I remember playing, I think it was everyone has gone to the Rapture and being a little bored because it was a lot of walking and then like clicking on one little basically audio log and then doing a lot more walking. And this is a lot, even though the engagement and the mechanics are very simple, just the fact of how they've split them up has been pretty enjoyable. So I want to keep playing this game. It's really quite enjoyable so far, and I like this style of horror game where it's tense. Like Alien Isolation was almost too scary for me, too tense, and that stupid alien just it's terrifying. So this game is like just the right amount for me right now. I'm enjoying it. So if anyone out there likes kind of horror games in the vein of Alien Isolation, but a little more basic in the mechanics and also kind of like walking simulators, this is a really cool horror or tension-filled suspense thriller type game. I think it's a good choice if you're into those kind of games.
Nice. That's on Game Pass, on Steam. I'm assuming it's on PlayStation as well, but I'm not sure. It's not published by anyone specific.
And it's an Unreal Engine 5 game, so it's pretty good looking.
Cool. Sean, how about you? Anything else?
No, not really. I've been trying to get through Tales of Kenzera Zhao, kind of what I'm focused on right now. But yeah, nothing else right now.
Cool. Huck, anything else?
I played one more thing, but I'll save it for next week actually, because I'll probably beat it and then talk about it more thoroughly.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Rapidly approaching episode 200. 2 left. Don't expect anything special. It's just going to be another show. Unless there's some divine inspiration between now and then. But thank you for listening or watching at youtube.com/GameJunk. You can leave your comments there. Actually, a lot of commenting on the last few episodes. So that's nice to see.
Keep it up.
Yeah, very good. That's where you want to comment on this stuff. And yeah, like or subscribe even if you hate it.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
About 1,000. Start a farm. Start doing something.
Tell a friend. When you're, on a random team in Helldivers 2, say, hey, have you heard about that Game Junk show? You should check it out on youtube.com/GameJunk. Just drop it in there.
Let's get us to that 1,000.
That's right.
Get into the algo a little bit. So close. All right. Well, thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.